So, I watched a Chris Bumstead video last night, just on YouTube. It was talking about bulking, the art of bulking, and it was a really interesting take on it. Chris Bumstead, obviously, one of the best bodybuilders ever. In current days, anyways, really famous and an absolute machine. And he was talking about bulking and when to bulk, dirty bulk, clean bulk, all this, because I've sort of taught myself into a bulk at the minute, just for another couple of months. I've been bulking. I'm not big though, am I? I'm not. But I've been bulking a little bit, as in, sometimes bulking just can be an excuse just to have a relaxed diet. So you got to watch it. Bulking doesn't mean that, you can get yourself in a right fucking state. And Chris Bumstead was talking about this. He was saying, if you've already carrying quite a bit of body fat, you should never do a dirty bulk. He basically says you shouldn't do a dirty bulk anyway. A dirty bulk is just eating what the hell you want, without kind of care, and then thinking you're going to shed all the fat later. It is basically just a way of it's an excuse, basically. It's just a way of fucking doing what you want without controlling yourself. So when he talks about a clean bulk is very similar to a shallow cut, really. I mean, it's like, what's the difference? You've got your maintenance calories, right? A clean bulk is just going slightly over, but not crazy over. A shallow cut is just go slightly under, but not crazy under. You're not crash dieting. And that's where you need to be. You know what I mean? So I was watching this video, Chris Bumstead, and what he was telling and everything. And it was making me feel fat. And I'm quite lean, but it was like thinking, fucking hell, I ought to. I'm there thinking I'm on this fucking bulk. Thinking, well, what bulk am I talking about? And it made me think, no, I ought to lose a bit of body fat. So I'm going to go on a little bit of maybe a week or two of just toning it back, just to shed a bit of body fat. And then I will go on a clean bulk until the end of February. And then, because if you go on if you leave it till February, which I think is a little bit late in my opinion, but you have to be super controlled then if you're going to hit, say, good shape in, say, May, June. If you want to be quite lean by May, June, for the summer, you have to really, really dial in your diet. So I'm going to do that this year at some point. But I think I've got a few weeks yet just to not stuff myself, just focus on building some muscle if I can. So I weighed myself the other day. I weighed myself the other day, and I'm sort of around about, I think I was 87, 88 kilos, which is close to 90 kilos. Quite heavy for me. I'm never that heavy these days. I might even be a bit heavier than that, but I'm never that heavy these days. But I could diet down 10 kilos on that, even less if I needed to. When Chris Bumstead was talking about, he was like, was he 280 pounds? 280 pounds must be over 120 kilos, right? That's big. And he was dieting down to, say, 220 pounds, which I think is that around 100 kilos, something like that? I can't be asked doing the conversion. But at his lean size, at 220 pounds lean, that is going to be some machine, some muscle mountain if he's down in single digit body fat. At that weight, absolutely massive. Hello. So obviously we just had Christmas, and like, I don't know about you, but I ate a ton of like bad chocolate. Not usually when I eat chocolate, me, I eat a little bit every day, and it's like over 85% dark. So I usually go for like, I buy these big packs of 99% or sometimes even 100%, right? Absolute dark. And it's very bitter, but you get used to it. And I just have 2 small squares a day, and it's just for like health, you know, because chocolate's like, it's an antioxidant. So I have a little bit. Hello, thank you for joining. Each day, just a couple of squares a day, for health reasons, 99 or 100% dark. But over Christmas, I had a fucking ton of like, are they called like celebrations, or I forget what they're called now. Hang on, just turn this on. I'm going to show you something. Yeah, I was feeling fat, you know what I mean? Eating a lot of food, a lot of carbs as well. Christmas dinner. Let me get onto my website. And there we go. Yeah, because I was eating a lot of carbs, right? Just with Christmas and desserts and things like this. So I really need to dial it back. I look lean. Yeah, to be honest, I'm always lean, right? I've always got, look at, like, if you look at my arms, I've always got fucking veins popping permanently, right? Look at that. Like, my veins are always popping everywhere. So I always stay lean, but, oh, you're like that, so yeah. So I always stay lean, but the most difficult part on a man, particularly, is the abs in it, and you can only tighten up on the abdominals when you're at the end of that cut. You know what I mean? Yeah. So and it takes real discipline. When I did it last year, I had a really relaxed year. But a couple of years ago, I got down super lean and I was looking pretty. Like, I can't share. I might be able to share it. I'd have to share it by showing the screen. But I got down pretty lean, and all it was, if you go, if you go on my website, I've got a link down below in description to my diet plan. So it's andyholt.co.uk, and then you just go over to resources and then diet plans and recipes. And I'll just turn it around just so maybe you can see it a bit there. Computer screen. Anyway, there you go. So I've got this diet. I've got like 4 principles. I've got kind of whole food. This is when you're hitting the diet and you like a clean bulk, or I would say a shallow cut. So what we got here, I've got wherever. I think they're all right. If you have a protein shake directly after training, that's fine. But I would not live on them. Like, I would try and get your protein from actual chewable food like beef, chicken, fish. So I always think you should go whole foods wherever possible and just avoid processed foods, right? And that, anyway, so avoid processed. Yeah, I know. 12 days after Christmas. I'm pulling it down this weekend. I've got 3 Christmas trees up still. Yeah. Actually, there's 4 Christmas trees in the house, but one's a little one, tiny one. They're all coming down this weekend. Anyway, whole foods wherever possible. The next principle is, I would say, high protein, right? I'm going to try and turn this around so you can see both me and the screen. Next one is high protein. I think, and you want to get, I think, and then the next principle. for controlling your calories is the best thing you can calculate. You know, like your main. When you're on a cut, you want 300 or 400 under, right? Have a long cut, clean bulk, and things like that. So, and then my last one. This is not for training, right? I live more low carb permanently. I do have carbs. I've had it over Christmas, but carbs, right? If you want to be as big as inflammation and control blood sugars, because oh, it's very crackly. How's the sound now? Is that all right? I'm having a bit of problem with this phone. I've got a new one. Got a new phone here. I just need to, you know, when you move over, I just need to move over. Anyway, I hope the sound is all right. Let me know. No sound. One sec. How's that sound now? Good? I can't tell, by the way, if there's any sound. Yeah, okay, right, okay. So, I generally go low carb to lower body inflammation for health reasons, because low body inflammation is one of the best things. I think controlling your overall calories and lowering your body inflammation is one of the best things to live a healthy, long life. Right, it's not for training. If your sole goal was just to weightlifting or fitness or something, you would literally just not bother about lowering carbs. You'd use them. But for me, lowering carbs is about body inflammation. You know, because all the big diseases come from high body inflammation. You think like things like fucking diabetes. It's basically an insulin problem, right? So you want to control it's your insulin sensitivity, which is a big problem. So that's lowering carbs. But so there is a bit of a trade-off here. So if you think about low carbs, I'm just going to ramble about this a minute, right? So if you've got there is a trade-off. If you want to get if you want to develop muscle and consider longevity, there's two things on this that are going to fight against that. Lower overall calories and low carbohydrate are at odds with getting as big as hell as a bodybuilder, right? So you've got to be able to tweak the two, and you can do it. You can have carbs. If I was going to have carbs, I'd have them at night, not in the morning, because they make you sluggish. In the morning, you want to focus on proteins and fats, right? Fats are needed for your hormones, right? You know, for whatever your hormones you need, the fats are needed for that. And if you train yourself to work on ketones, you can do that. And if you do have carbs, have them at night, because then, you know, it'll just sort of store carbohydrates store in your muscles as it's like glycogen storage in your muscles, ready for energy. Anyway, right, so that's what I would do. And then I'll go on here, waffle about like carbohydrates and fats. You'd have to read this article, there's a link down below. And then as we go down, estimating your daily calories, which is very important, give you a bit of advice there on what to do. Adjust your calories between 200 and 400 either way for a bulk or cut once you've estimated. Obviously get your protein right. It's 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. So you need to find out your lean body mass. Best way, weigh yourself, estimate roughly how much body fat you've got. Most people get that wrong. And then, but they'll get it wrong in the right way. So, you know, if you're, say, I don't know, argument's sake, let's say you're 100 kilos and you're 25% body fat, then you work it out for 75 kilos. So that'll be, obviously, you need 75 kilos then would be what, 100 and, I don't know, 180 pound, 180 grams of protein. If you're a guy, eat 200 grams of protein, right? Having a little bit more is fine, and that's fine. That's what I would do. Talk about meat, 3 benefits to eating meat. Obviously, protein has a higher thermic efficiency, so it actually consumes more energy eating protein. And one of the big benefits, if you start developing muscle, have you ever noticed with someone like, Chris, everyone's talking about Christmas tree. Have you ever noticed with someone like Chris Bumstead or Sam Sulek, how they always seem to look lean? One of the secrets why they look lean is because they've got a lot of body mass. If you look at someone like Mike Thurston, always looks in good shape. Even in his off season, this is what I mean. When Chris Bumstead were talking about when to bulk and stuff, he was saying, when you stop, if you can't see your abs, stop bulking. And it's like, yeah, that's all right for you, Chris Bumstead, because you're ripped as hell. He's always like that, right? And one of the reasons why big guys, the guys that have got a lot of muscle like that, if you think Sam Sulek, Chris Bumstead, even Mike Thurston, any of these guys, right, the reason why they always look super lean is because they've got that muscle. And once you have the muscle, you find it easier to burn calories and stay lean. And this is one of the kind of great benefits about it. The more muscle you have, just walking around burns calories. You end up finding it easier to stay lean and stay in shape. Now, if you think about it, so this is a body composition issue, right? So your whole job should be trying to shift your body composition to be like a reasonable amount of lean mass and low body fat. So you want more lean mass than body fat, right? So it's a body composition. Once you get your body composition right, it's actually very easy to maintain it. The reason why I'm lean all year round is because I've spent years working on my body composition. Now, a few, 10 years ago, all right, 20 years ago, I was longer than 20 years ago now, when I was 18, 19, I was just into weightlifting. I was a meathead, you know what I mean? I used to eat full chickens just for fun. And I was, just squatting loads and just a meathead. I was just trying to get massive, and I was very strong. And then just 10 years ago, I'd lost it quite a lot because no, it's not a nutrition channel. I talk about nutrition a lot. I lost it a lot because I was trying to sell software on the road, and I got a bit fat, and my body composition went. So I went a little bit fat. You could say skinny fat. A skinny fat is a really terrible situation to be in, right? Because it's quite hard, because what's the best way out of skinny fat? I think do a lean bulk, right? If you've got no mass to begin, because I know a lot of people that I speak to that are skinny fat, they want to see abs and they want to diet down, but you've got no kind of muscle mass to retain the leanness. So I think what you need to do is to develop lean mass. Once you develop lean mass, you can then stay lean for longer. It's so much easier, and it takes years. It's like a bank balance. Losing fat is actually quite easy. It's just a discipline thing. If you can just stop yourself eating, you will lose fat, right? Yes, you got metabolism and all that, but losing fat is very fucking easy. You can lose a lot of fat quick. However, building muscle is very difficult. It takes years, right? You can't build muscle in 6 months. You can't go from skinny fat to, an absolute muscle mountain. You can't do it in 2 years. So building lean mass is a huge long-term goal that you should do, and the reason why you should focus on that is because once you do have that lean mass, you'll kind of stay in really good shape and you'll look great, because it's easy to stay lean then. It's very difficult to stay lean when you haven't got any muscle, right? So you might think, well, if you're skinny fat, then what's the way to go? Well, you might have to just I heard someone say, I think it was what was the guy, I think he used to be called the Channel First man, he said just be fat and ugly for 2 years, just like focus on bulking up. And I'm like, right, okay. There is a shout to that. The problem is you can balloon in body fat very quick, so you need to watch it. I know, I just got my mate messaging me there. Right. Let me just have a look, because he's just messaging me. I've got a call. Are we still on? Sorry about that. How about fasting? Right, are we still live? I just had to message someone there. How about fasting? Yes, done a lot of videos on fasting. I think it's very useful. Just a couple of things on fasting. Yes, I did a provocative video once about why fasting doesn't burn fat. And what I meant by that is just technically the fasting is not burning the fat. Well, it is. It's right. The fat burning comes from lower calories, right? And it doesn't matter whether, so you can lower your calories in many ways, right? You can eat less per day. So every meal, eat less. Just cut your calories per day or lose weight. Or you can fast, right? And if you fast, all you're doing is reducing calories, right? So, but the thing is, if you do an intermittent fast, right, and in your fasting period you're not eating, and let's say you do a 16-8, and in the 8 hours you're absolutely, let's say your maintenance is 3,000 calories or something, right? And then so you're not eating in your 16 hours, and then in your 8 hour window you're eating 3,500 calories, because you're just absolutely smashing food when you go in your eating window, right? Will you put on weight? Yes, you will, because you're cancelling out what the fast is doing. So it doesn't matter. The thing with fasting is, right, measure your maintenance and just look over the fasting period. So even if you're fasting for, say, 3-4 days and you've saved 3,000 calories a day, that's 4 days, what's that, 12,000 calories. If you then, over the next 3 days, let's say you have a 3-day eating window, if you eat an additional 12,000 calories, you kind of cancel out your gains. So yeah, fasting does work. I found intermittent fast, one of the benefits of intermittent fasting is it stops you snacking at night. So if you're going to do a 16-8 and then tighten it up to a 20 hours and 4, it basically stops you snacking, right? And fasting really is, it is that stopping snacking, because fasting is just having big gaps between meals, allowing your digestive system to some time off, allowing your digestive system to have a break. And it is very, very good for you. You know, I did a couple of prolonged fasts just a couple of months ago, you know, like a multi-day fast. I just did one, and then next week I said, oh, I'll just do it again for a few days again. And I felt great, you know, like yeah, we're back, right. Listen, unfortunately,